everyone, welcome back to the FPL. I'm Charlie, I'm here with Cameron
Yep,
once again, and
it's me.
our battle this week is actually my team, the Tox-Boxers, versus the Pimps, led by Jackson, and it should be a good one this week. I know this was a matchup that I was not looking forward to playing, and lo and behold, I had to play in week one. But this guy's team is terrifying. His team won. His first team, his top six is absolutely terrifying.
Yep, I mean, he has one of the most top-heavy teams in the league with threats like, Mega Scizor, Salamence, and ENTEI all able to clean up very well at the end of a battle. And, I mean, still hard hitters in Primarina, Lycanroc, and Muckalola. So, it's able to take a lot of damage, it deals a lot of damage, there's good setup. It's a really terrifying team. But, one of the weaknesses it does have, so far from what I've seen, he doesn't necessarily have hazard removal. So,
Yeah,
he's switching around a lot. That could be pretty punishable.
yeah, that's true. Out of defog on Scizor specifically, I actually don't think anything else on this team. Well, and Salamence, but nobody in their right mind is running defog on Salamence.
No.
Outside of defog on Scizor potentially, he actually has no removal on this team at all. So, you can see my Sudowoodo down there. So maybe that could be a potential key to this matchup is just getting rocks up early and not letting him switch around a bunch.
Right, and it looks like it's good that you brought the Grimmsnarl because other than that, I don't really know if your team necessarily has a way of stopping Salamence once it's set up, because a lot of people run these mixed Salamences, so I could see Flamethrower taking down Skarmory, and with Earthquake and Dragon Claw, I'm pretty sure it can get through the rest of that team pretty easily after a single Dragon Dance, so that's a bit of a scary option from Jackson.
Yeah, Salamence was definitely on my radar as one of the more difficult options to deal with on his team, but the other one, namely, was ENTEI. I found that Skarmory had a pretty good matchup into this team, outside of obviously Primarina, the insane special wall breaker that it is. Yeah, Skarmory's not going to stand up to that, but the only physical attacker on his team that I felt really pressured Skarmory was ENTEI. Now, I did do some calcs before the battle, and I found that a Skarmory with one Iron Defense up takes about as much damage from Sacred Fire as it heals from Roost. So that could be a key calc to watch this battle, and a key to the actual, that could be a major factor in who actually comes out on top.
Yeah, that could definitely help you out. Another thing that could help you out, I was a little bit skeptical when I was looking at it first, but then, after thinking about its matchup a bit, Golbat does have a decent matchup here with most flying types getting Heat Wave, which is great coverage for that Scizor, and actually as a poison coverage mon, it might be able to deal enough to actually threaten the Primarina.
Yeah, I know I did actually bring kind of a weirder Golbat set this battle. Golbat was a Pokemon that I wasn't super high on after the draft. I kind of just took it because I had 3 points and I knew I wanted Sudowoodo, so I figured I would just snag Golbat. But yeah, it wasn't a Pokemon I was super high on, but like you said, I did find that I actually had a really good matchup with it this battle. I know I'm carrying Heat Wave on it. I've got Sludge Bomb for that Primarina. And it, that's definitely an option. Now, it does get hard-walled by Muck, like most special attackers do.
Right. Right, and I actually did want to talk a bit about that Muckalola's matchup, because what I'm seeing out of your team is there might not be a lot of ways to threaten it. You have mostly physical attackers, but nothing with Stab that's going to be threatening the Muck. You do have a lot of Earthquakes with, Gyarados and Sudowoodo, but it is questionable to me whether or not you'll be able to kill it even with that amount of physical attackers.
Yeah, Muck was definitely something that I was really wary of in my prep. You can see I didn't bring Poltegeist or Salazzle, some of my more expensive picks, just because they can't touch Muck basically. But yeah, that was definitely something I was wary of. I know I've got coverage for it on a variety of Pokemon, but we'll see if I can actually if I can actually break it, especially if he's running it physically defensively. You know, trying to predict that that I'm running my team the way that I am, it could be a bit of an issue. Now, if he, you know, over prepared for like Poltegeist, for example, and is running it especially defensive, or AV, it could be a little bit easier for me to break at this battle.
Right, well, let's get right into the battle and see how that goes for you.
All right. So immediately we see my favorite lead in the entirety of Pokemon, which is Sudowoodo.
Classic Sudowoodo lead.
Yeah.
A scissor lead from Jackson, interestingly enough.
Yep.
Possibly trying to not go for that Lycanroc matchup, but you do get a devastating fight.
Well, that's...
Scizor is looking really low.
Yeah, that is why I like Sudowoodo so much. I mean, it just carries so much coverage for things. Now, I do go for a Toxic there because I know Jackson really likes the Endeavor set on Lycanroc.
Right.
But this is that matchup I'm talking about right here, and I do have to leave because it just, you know, if I am not faster, and it does put up, you know, a ton of damage with that Sacred Fire if I don't have an Iron Defense up. But this was the thing that really surprised me, was Entei able to two-shot my Gyarados. Now this is one of the reasons I love Sudowoodo so much, is because of Sturdy and Custap Berry, and there we can see the Earthquake
pick
come
up
out.
the kill on the Lycanroc with that. Just a great set. Custap Berry, incredible item in draft leagues.
Mm-hmm. Now sadly I'm not able to get Rocks up, which would have really helped this battle. But I was able to do a little bit of work with Sudowoodo, so I'm not too upset about it.
And we are gonna see that Muck switch. And I mean 14%, but a decent burn that will manage to chip it down over time if you manage to survive.
Yeah, the heat wave burn was a really fortunate turn of events for me. Now the knockoff is pretty brutal because I do kind of rely on those leftovers recoveries to overcome a potential Sacred Fire burn, and I do just get out of there immediately, expecting a switch just like that into either Primarina or Entei. And I'm able to get a light screen up, but it literally doesn't matter. That Primarina is such an absurdly strong Pokemon.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it is super effective, but OHKOing through a light screen, I mean, that is brutal.
Mm-hmm. Now,
and we're actually seeing a resisted 30% on the Skarmory.
Yeah, now Skarmory has no special investment at all, but it is max HP, and the fact that this is still doing that much damage through the light screen is crazy.
Yep, I do believe, looking at this damage, it probably is a Choice Specs Primarina, which explains that a bit more. But I mean, it's still very surprising, considering that you do see that resistance from Skarmory that's doing so much.
Yep, and at this point, I'm more or less just I was predicting an Entei switch there, and the Toxic would have really helped, but at this point, I'm just trying to heal up HP and just, you know, keep as much PP on Roost as I can for when Entei comes in, because that's really the big matchup that I'm looking at right now. I know at this point this Primarina specs, and he's just, you know, waiting for it to die. So I'm just trying to stay as healthy as I can until then.
Yep, and Jackson does manage to live through the light screen, but I'm guessing you go for possible body slam here?
Yeah, so there is the body press, and if that would have killed, it would have turned my whole game around, but sadly I couldn't KO with it, and at this point I just have to hope he doesn't crit.
And I believe from Jackson, we are going to be seeing that crit fishing.
Yep.
And we're going to be seeing you trying to outlast that PP. Entei normally taken on either Choice Scarf or Choice Band. So I think it is a good play for you to essentially try to run that out of PP, force a switch, and possibly keep the Skarmory pressure alive here.
Yeah, and see, the trouble for me here is now that extra Iron Defense is so important for me, but the trouble here is I have to keep essentially hoping that I can PP stall him, just because if Primarina comes in, I mean, even if Skarmory is set up like this, I just need to be able to kill Primarina. And there's the crit.
And we do see the crit.
On the,
I believe that was on the final Sacred Fire.
Yes, I think it was, yeah.
You know, when you go for it that many times, you do have to expect a crit at some point, but it is still rather unfortunate for you that he picked that up. And with that, I think that is going to be the end of the battle.
That's
here.
pretty much it. Now, I will say, watching this battle again, I may have misplayed by going for the second iron defense. Maybe a body press would have been better there, but either way, I mean, you know, I don't know if it would have stood up to this Salamence, especially like you were talking about with a potential flamethrower. Definitely would not have.
Right, and I think we're gonna be seeing an outrage finish that off, and that is the end of the battle. So I think considering the difference in point values for the team, I wish we could bring up a little statistic here, because I think he's about 20 or maybe even around 30 points more expensive than you.
Yeah, I believe Jackson's team 1 is 54 points. And if I just go ahead and do the math real quick in my head, I believe my current team I have is, I want to say 32. Yeah.
20 point difference.
Yeah.
We could see Jackson struggling a lot for the in-division battles. For those of you that don't know, you play 2 instead of 1 as a set, and you have to use all 12 of your Pokemon between those 2 battles. So he could run into some issues with that.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see if he starts kind of spreading his team out, or if he does the thing that he's kind of known to do and just starts, you know, he keeps stacking all of his high-powered Pokemon on one team and then just runs the other 6 and hopes for the best, I guess. But I'm interested to see how he does. I know that I kind of tried to set my team up to be pretty good in those 2-week battles, but I mean, that's a long way from now, and we've still got quite a few battles before then. So this, I mean, this Pimps team is one of the strongest team 1s I've ever seen.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, very well piloted by Jackson. I mean, he's a player that's underestimated a little bit, I would say, and I think this is showing. With this season, he'll definitely be someone to look out for.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we saw, you know, he identified that ENTEI matchup too, and he did what he needed to do. And at the end of the day, you know, I believe it was a 50-50 at one that he would crit at some point within those 8 Sacred Fires. So, you know, we both had the matchup we needed, and you know, that's just kind of how it goes sometimes.
That's Pokemon.
Yeah, that's the game. So, but yeah,
battle.
Either way, good battle, and I'm looking forward to next week.
Yep, so am I.